Cecilia here with another Transgirl C C, where we talk about comics, cartoons, and other awesome nerd shit. So, this week we're talking about Superb, a superhero comic from Lionforge Studios, which is a part of their Catalyst series. As you can see, it's already in graphic novel form, so it's really easy to read if you haven't checked out the single issues. I would definitely suggest giving this one a read. It's pretty good. But we'll get into that. Before we get into that, we're actually doing something a little different. This is normally where I would tell you something about something you might have missed, and, suggest it to you. This time I'm talking about something that's coming up. It's My Hero Academia Season 3. It's coming out next month. I'm super excited for it. And if you haven't already watched the series, you can watch both, Season 1 and 2, on either Crunchyroll or Hulu, whatever you prefer. Go for it. I've also made 2 videos about the series, so you can definitely check those videos out, get yourself caught up that way if you prefer. I would rather just watch the anime, then check out the videos for my opinion. That's what I would do, but it's up to you. So, let's talk about Superb. Now, Superb, interesting story. It's part of the Catalyst series. So the Catalyst series for Lionforge is basically them setting up their superhero world, more or less. An event happens, and people get superpowers from it. Generally, young adults, teenagers, those sorts of people are getting granted powers because of a meteor that was destroyed light years and light years away, and the fragments of it have fallen to Earth and, spread these powers around. Superb follows the story of Kayla Tate and her friend Jonah Watkins. Yeah, there's a lot of noise over there. Don't worry about it. Anyway, and so Kayla has been out of Youngstown, where the story takes place, for a while. Her parents moved because of work, and now she's back and she hates it. She doesn't like it. She doesn't want to be in the town. She especially doesn't like the way that the town has been infiltrated by Foresight, a company that is rounding up these young people with powers for whatever purpose. They're not explaining why they're doing this. As you read the book, they're like, because we're trying to stop this great danger that's coming, but they won't tell anybody what the danger is. They won't explain it to the public. They don't even tell the public that there's a danger, just that the people with powers could be potentially dangerous, and that's why they have to round them up. So it's kind of weird that way. Now, this cover for this graphic novel and some of the covers for the single issues are not amazing. As you can kind of see, the art is a little on the F side. But the art inside the book and inside the comics is actually pretty decent. As you can see, it's definitely much better than this design choice right here, so I don't want you to take a look at the cover and think, wow, that's what I'm getting. So let's talk about the characters. Kayla, as I mentioned, she is just coming into town. She hates it. She hates Foresight, which her parents work for, and she's basically just trying to have a normal life, graduate high school, get out of Youngstown because she doesn't want to be there. Her friend Jonah, who has lived in Youngstown his whole life, has Down syndrome. He isn't very friendly towards Kayla, even though they kind of grew up with each other, because she left. And now she's back, and she expects things to kind of be like they were, and obviously they're not. Things have changed. For one thing, there's power detectors set up in the school to weed out children or students who might have superpowers. And that's all because some students lost control of their powers and blew up a classroom. So that's what happened. People died. Which gives Foresight more leeway into just rounding people up. But Jonah has a secret. He is actually one of those superpower individuals. He goes by Cosmosis, sorry. And he goes around saving people, doing good deeds, lifting cars off of people. That's his whole deal. He wants to show that people with powers aren't necessarily a danger or a bad. Kayla, she just runs a podcast. She's about people with powers. She's like, who could Cosmosis be? I don't know. It's good that he's doing good work. It's definitely a good example. But for the most part, she doesn't really want to get involved. She just wants to stay under the radar. And there's a reason for that. That gets later in the comics. Actually, kind of it's a non-twist, in my opinion. It's a non-twist, in my opinion, because there's obviously, there's obviously covers of her being in costume, and so, as you might guess, she has powers of her own that she's trying to keep a secret because Foresight, etc., is, going around rounding up people with powers, and she just wants to live her life. Meanwhile, Foresight is like, okay, so kids with powers, they are still going undetected by our scanners, until they're reaching almost critical levels. What's the deal with that? We need to do better. What's going on? Meanwhile, they have a warehouse full of dead bodies. It's really weird. It's like, they say that they're trying to do good, but at the same time, they're really shady. And so, who knows what's actually going on? Nobody. So, Jonah, it turns out, has a kind of, man in the chair, if you will, if you've seen Spider-Man Homecoming. Somebody who helps direct him where to go. And this becomes a thing because he tries to break into Foresight to break a fellow student out of it. And it does not go well. At all. Kayla helps him to his guy in the chair. It's actually a girl, a young girl, and she's got a mouth and kind of a sassy personality. She doesn't like Kayla, but she still helps him out anyway. And then it gets revealed that Kayla has powers too. And that's when shit hits the fan. And that's kind of where this book ends. So if you want to know more, gotta read more. Now, I do like the art. I do think it's neat. I mean, it's nothing super groundbreaking or anything like that. You're not gonna... This isn't like reading this and being amazingly inspired by the line work or anything like that. It's just, good art. And I appreciate that. The story is interesting in of itself. They really bring the fact that Jonah having Down syndrome is a big key point. That's one of the reasons he's been able to fly under the radar so well, is because apparently people with Down syndrome are supposed to have a gene that keeps them from developing superpowers, but now he does have superpowers and nobody really knows why that is. So there's a mystery behind that too. Maybe that's not actually a thing. Who knows? I don't know. But it is interesting, I think, this book. I mean, I'm reviewing it. If I had kind of one complaint about the book, is that the story is a little paint by numbers. You have the teenage rebellion and the shady super corporation with a goal that they're not telling anybody, and that's fine. That's pretty standard superhero stuff. So I would definitely give this, if we were rating it, about a 7 out of 10. I enjoy it. I will keep reading it. I will suggest it to people. But if you miss this one, understandable. And if you don't like superhero books, this one is not going to be for you in any kind of way, and that's okay too. Like I said, not everything. Like I always say, not everything is for everybody, and that's okay. So, yeah, it's got a bunch of interesting, recommendations from people. So, check it out if you believe in that sort of stuff, or just give it a thumbs over if you want to look into it. But that's it. That's all we're talking about this week. I'm trying a new thing where I don't give away everything. I think that might work better for me. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. I just like that we're cutting down on time, so that maybe I can talk about more stuff throughout the week. I do want to do a Dragon Ball Super episode. That was supposed to be today, but they canceled the episode for this week and pushed it back to next week, so maybe we'll talk about that next week. What are we talking about coming up? Don't know, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. And until then, I'm Fire Princess Lily. Enjoy comics, enjoy cartoons, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.